Greetings and welcome to Ep.1 of One Path to Wealth. I am your host, Jeremy Dicker, the Hebrew Hand. I'm sitting here with my co-host, Peter Hoopis, a 30-year friend and president of One Wealth Management. It's oftentimes asked of me from business leaders and professionals in our space alike, how is it possible that a 47-year-old would have been in the business for 30 years? So I thought for episode one, we talk a little bit about the unicorn in the room, which is that 30-year start and what led us to the development of the firm and the things that we love to do, which is wealth management for our clients and for our advisors alike. So 1995, I'm getting ready to start looking around at opportunities, looking around at how I was going to pay for my college education, how I was and what I wanted to ultimately do with my life. So I decided to start looking at financial services as a career path to, financial success, most certainly, but over and above that, something that I felt that was going to be really rewarding. So at age 17, I began working as an intern at a firm. It was an unpaid internship, eat what you kill, and started there. Had a very little success over the first year, but then really started finding my footing and didn't end up finishing college, but did have a great launching pad to the start of what has been a really rewarding and amazing career. And along the way, I've gotten the opportunity to meet some incredible people like Peter. Peter's been the president of our firm for about a year, but we've worked together for 30 years. It's hard to believe, whether it be at our previous firm and now. And I don't know, Pete, what are some of your thoughts about some of the things that we've gone through, the trials, the tribulations, the fun around the career that you and I have selected so many years ago?
Yeah. Hey, I know we were just joking about that 30 years in the business, and we're only 47 years old. And it's kind of crazy to think about that. And we certainly weren't thinking about a podcast 30 years ago, let alone even 20 years ago. So funny to see how things have evolved. And our friendship and relationship has continued over that time period. And we've had professional relationships, and really excited about where things are going right now with One Wealth and our path together right now. So, but, I know we're trying to cover 30 years in 30 minutes here. So, let's see if we can continue on the path. You got off to a good start. You said you really found your footing in this industry. Tell us a little bit more about the early years and what got you going.
It was interesting, starting off coming from a family not of significant means. In fact, my father was a homeless person for a good part of his latter life before he passed away almost 12 years ago. And seeing the trouble that he had gave me an immediate appreciation for the need to plan, the need to take personal responsibility for your finances, the need to plan for one's future, whether the known or the unknown. So starting off, that was really the focus. We were a risk-based organization, meaning we provided insurance solutions to those that needed it. But over time, and it's amazing to think about that, 1995 till today, the world has changed certainly. Back then we had one computer on a floor, not one on a desk. We had copy machines. We had one printer on a floor. The button dial computers. And if you wanted to go meet people or search for those that would potentially be a fit for the services that we provided, you went to the library. And ironically, that was probably the only time that I ever went to a library, which was when I wanted to try to learn more about other people and search them through the different various options that were available at the public library. Certainly, I wasn't doing that in college and very little in high school. But the idea there was to really get a better understanding of what the market had to offer. So I door knocked. I walked into several banks and financial institutions and other locations, and I actually would door knock and say, hey, can I get a copy of your annual report, which they obviously provided. I'd get that annual report, and I'd review the back of that annual report, see the names of those individuals, and just started calling on them. And it was something that for someone that did not have a financial background, but certainly a people person, gave me the opportunity to speak to people that were like-minded, certainly, older, certainly, so had some needs. And it also gave me a real pushing off point into the career because I got to really hear from those that had been there, done that, and those that had not been there and done that, and those that had concerns about the things that those of us that have children and families today consider. And then over time, I had an interest in the entertainment industry. So I'd watch a movie and we'd push that pause button on the VHS recorder at the end of the film where the credits were there. And I saw all of these prop masters, color correction artists, editors, and thought to myself, well, hey, that could be a pretty cool entry point. And, those are the folks that probably aren't as well known. So perhaps it would be an easier entry point to call Warner Brothers Studios or Fox or Sony or wherever it might be where these individuals worked. And then I had quite a bit of success over 4 or 5 years in my early to mid 20s calling on those individuals, and ultimately became known on the risk side or the insurance side as Dr. Death. I'd walk around the studio grounds, and I'd hear some of the guys that were working there, calling me out by name. Now it's the Hebrew Hammer for a whole variety of reasons that we'll probably talk about in another episode. But it was a great opportunity for me to get introduced, understand the entertainment industry, become a quote unquote expert in that space, and really help our clients get a good understanding as to what was available to them, what they should be thinking about, and why. And, back then, obviously, as a young person, unmarried at the time, no children, nobody that was really depending and relying on me, the focus was telling stories about things that I either heard or saw. And that was, sharing stories of my family's background and my father's challenges. And that was talking about things that were of concern of people that I knew, whether it be a friend of mine whose mother in Brentwood, California, was playing tennis in her mid-40s as my age now, and had an aneurysm and died on a tennis court, and how that left the family not only feeling, but the considerations that the family now had to make so that those kids grew up in the best environment, the best financial circumstance that they could. So, the mission and the goal in my mind of our podcast, and this is certainly episode 1, is to not only talk about our background and hopefully weave some colorful stories and things along the way into this podcast and these episodes, but also really to bring some real life things to light. When we started, you were working in the commission business, and that meant you could help a lot of people with not a lot of money. Today, it's very difficult because the commission business is all but left. I remember, back in the old days before advisory accounts, as we are a registered investment advisor, but as these advisory accounts were called fee in lieu accounts, and that meant fee in lieu of commissions. You were charging a fee. And there were insurance agents, and then there were investment professionals and CPAs and lawyers, and everybody stayed in their own lane. And then in 98 or 99, whenever it was, Glass-Steagall was repealed. And everybody got into everybody's business. And while some in our space felt, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? I felt what a tremendous opportunity. More people are being educated on what it is that we do. If we can just be the best at that, we win. And fortunately, here 25 years later or thereabouts, we have been winning. We've had these tremendous client relationships, tremendous people around us. Peter and I, you and I have been friends for 30 years and working together for about the same. Our COO, Miriam's been with us 18 years. Our chief investment officer, 15 or 16 years, and the rest of the team, at least a decade. And I think it's really something pretty special to say that we've been together as a team for such a long period of time. Mm-hmm. So I think, as we start thinking about this next iteration of things, all of those things have to be considered.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember those times when we were getting started and we'd have to go in and get the annual reports, like you said. And then shortly after, we had access to the internet in Hoover's, and that was like game changing because we could pull those reports one after another. It was like easy prospecting for us.
It was. And now you think about if you're a single person, what the internet's used for in terms of prospecting, it's not just looking at professional leads, but and all the other things that the internet can be used for, But yeah, I agree with you, man. It's been an interesting, fun ride along the way.
Yeah, and like you said, with Glass-Steagall changing things, it was still early on in our career where we were focused on insurance work, and then all of a sudden we could have access to investments and working with our clients. And fortunately for us, we embraced it right away, and it's been an amazing ride since then. And balancing both insurance work for our clients and incorporating investments. It's really been awesome for us at this point.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's been an amazing ride along the way for us to be able to continue to provide those risk-based solutions in addition to now having the opportunity to provide these investment-based solutions. Yep. And what's further, really interesting and amazing to think about as we now have gone in and put full feet, full bodies in the registered investment advisory space, yet again, another layer of the onion has been pulled back and there's more optionality available for our consumers and all the things that we can do for them, whether it be from a planning perspective, an investment management perspective, a risk perspective, retirement planning, estate planning, and really everything in between. And it's an amazing space for us to be in. And I got to tell you, I'm really excited about what the next 30 years holds. Maybe not quite that much, but what the next 30 years holds for us, our business, and really the way the industry is going.
Yeah. So you got off to a great start, and then 2012, you had an amazing career with your prior firm. You were one of the top all-time producers, and again, at such a young age and have such an amazingly fast start to year. What really led you to say, I'm going to branch off and I want to start One Wealth Management, and what got you down that path that we're at today?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's one that I'm asked a lot. It was not an easy decision. When I left my previous firm, I had been there literally half of my life, age 17, 18 until 35, and really looked at a variety of options over that period of time to come to the conclusion that, you know what, I feel like I want to do this on my own and do whatever I could to create another Goldman Sachs or another firm that really had that deep breadth and presence in the marketplace that really looked after their clients. So when we launched One Wealth, the vision and the purpose and the mission, which hasn't really changed, is we want to deliver excellence in every aspect of our business. And we want to be totally transparent with our clients. We want them to really understand what is they're getting, what is they're paying for, all the things they need to be considering that are out in that marketplace. And, as a general rule, I think most people are good. Obviously, you've got the outliers there, the Bernie Madoffs of the world. But in general, I generally believe that most people do good and want to do good. And so as a firm, our focus point is do the best work, provide the best solutions, always answer for your clients and be available. And no matter what you do, the good Lord gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So listen more, talk less, and really get to understand what it is that's on these clients' minds. And that's the whole basis of the firm. And I'd be lying if I said it wasn't very challenging and filled with fits and stops along the way. We went from having a lot of advisors to less to more, and every machination of all of the above that you can think about. But what's held true along the way is the support team that we've got behind us. We never say the word staff. Staff's an infection. But the support team that we have behind us that are bought in to the vision, the goals, the expectations that One Wealth Management has, and deliver on the promises and the commitments that we, the advisors, make each and every day. And as we've thought about, and the other piece to this is as we thought about the development of One Wealth Management, what that meant, we really looked at what markets we wanted to serve. And that didn't mean, I always love talking with friends of mine that are other competing firms that say, I only work with people that have $10 million or more. And I'm like, that's such BS. I know 5 people you're working with that have 500,000 or less or 100 grand. But it's this ego that we've got in this business that says, I got to show you how big and strong and important I am. When in reality, if you do great work for great people, great things happen. And so we started working with wineries and people in the food and beverage space. We work with people in private equity, investment banking, and corporate finance, technology entrepreneurs, the entertainment industry, manufacturing. There's no greater joy than going and seeing a farmer who owns a winery in Paso Robles or Napa Valley and has had some real challenges around their planning. How are they going to monetize this incredible business that they have? What things should they be considering and thinking about relative to their brand, their farm, their products, and how do they bring them to market in the most efficient manner possible? And we talk to them about all of those things, and ultimately the path always leads to a path of wealth management, risk planning, risk-based planning, investment management, retirement planning, and so many other things. Whether we're talking to the clients about their debt management and what's important there, and saying, I've said this many times, debt managed is an asset. Debt unmanaged is a liability. So manage your debt, make it an asset, deliver on the things that you're investing in, whether it be with leverage or without. And at the end of the day, we don't take a position. It's whatever the clients feel is most appropriate for them. And then delivering excellence along the way, building every leg of that financial planning stool to provide that path to the ultimate financial success, which is whatever retirement means to them. And I always say this to people, retirement means whatever it means to you. It could mean that you want to be financially flexible and free to travel the world, or it might be you just want to focus on having enough money so that you can sit in your rocking chair, garden, and play with your grandkids. Or you want to ensure the fact that the next generation has got what it is that's important to them, to keep the ballerina shoes on the ballerinas, to make sure the horses are in the barn so that they can continue to have that horseback riding experience, to make sure that your kids have got the best baseball gloves on their hands, hockey sticks in their hands, skates on their feet, to ensure that they are living the life that you want. And that path to financial wellness and financial success is at the core tenet of everything that we do.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about the firm a little bit more and the development over the last 12 years. We're sitting right now, it's end of July 2024.
Crazy.
You've mentioned how you've done some business in Napa and Paso, and you're sitting in our LA office. I'm in our Chicago office. We've got an operation in Phoenix. I want you to just talk a little bit about the development of the firm, the way you've seen it.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that I found interesting growing up as a Los Angelino, a true Los Angelino and a Californian, is these large organizations that have all tried to quote unquote crack the code on California. And, having a centralized office in one place, downtown LA or Century City or Beverly Hills, pick a major location, and seeing how much of a bad decision that was. Having these huge centralized hubs and expecting your clients in cities like Los Angeles with very limited public transportation, unlike New York or Chicago, to come and see you. And then thinking about places like Paso Robles that are fairly remote, Santa Barbara being the largest major city near there, obviously San Luis Obispo County, but getting to Santa Barbara is an hour plus drive. And are you going to want to go see your financial professional, your attorney, your CPA when their offices are so far away? So the vision behind One Wealth Management was always to bring the best to them, meaning, do we have brick and mortar? Of course. We're at our El Segundo location in Los Angeles today. We've got Paso Robles, a great office location there. Chicago, 2 locations in the greater Chicagoland area, one in the city and one in the burbs, as you know, Pete. Our Phoenix office, which is opening up here very soon, but we've got space that we've been utilizing and having a Phoenix location. And the vision there was, look, we're going to create the best technology. We're going to have the most customized tech stack. We're going to have the best online user experience. We're going to all dress appropriately, act appropriately, present the firm the right way all the time, and represent our clients first, last, and always number one. That's our number one primary focus. So the idea was, okay, let's put offices in strategic locations to help dominate the marketplace and to really create a unique experience for the clients and for the advisors and the support team members themselves. So we've done that at each of our office locations and in each of the markets that we live and work. Look, if you're dealing with farmers, winery operators, they don't want to see you in a suit and tie. They expect you to be in blue jeans and talk the talk and walk the walk and understand what their businesses are. And then as a firm that we've gone from different sizes of office locations, what we chose to do, as you well know, Pete, because you've been integral in this decision making, but we've chosen to invest money back in our people. And what does that mean? Our people are the most educated in terms of the experiences that they have, the licenses that they carry, the designations that they have. We've chosen to create a unique experience. So if a client of ours comes to a steak dinner, rest assured, they're not going to be getting talked to about the latest rules around Roe v. Wade or the Trump assassination attempt or any variety of these political events because it's already around them. So why would we focus more of the same? And now, certainly, can we talk about those political issues and the markets? Absolutely, with the best of them. But I'm a wholehearted believer that it's important for your clients to have a unique experience. And that experience starts with a dinner that doesn't have a laser pointer talking about investment rates of return, but let's talk about the steak, how the chef selected the menu, the meat, where they bought their meat and why, the wine pairings and what makes those wines so special, the steak knives that they've chosen to give their clients to cut into that incredible beef and give them that experience. What is the reasoning behind all of those things? And by the way, as a business, we've done the same thing. What's important for our clients? Do they want to see us on Zoom? Do they want to talk to us via text messaging or cell phone or office line or in-house, in person? What do they want? Because again, it's not about us. It's about them. And so as a firm, we've really focused on that as being the outlook point, not being, our mantra is, we're not your granddaddy's financial planning firm. And that's absolutely right. Now, there's nothing wrong with your granddaddy's financial planning firm, but we're not that. We're a variation of that. We're high class, high touch, communication oriented, and tech focused. And by delivering all of those things in excellence, we believe that we've got an industry leading advantage. It's like as a rule that, Pete, you and I have come up with and discussed with the leadership team at the firm, there's no blurring of backgrounds. There's no fake backgrounds. Show people where you live and work. I think it's okay if you're working in a hotel room for them to see that you didn't make your bed. Now, I hope you make your bed, but I think it's okay, right? Just like I don't think it's okay to get on a meeting with a important professional or support team member or coworker without a shirt on, or not dressed appropriately, or not clean shaven to the extent you don't have a manicured beard. But to treat the people that you live and work with every day with a degree of respect that they deserve. So as a firm, that's what we have focused on, and that's been the design and the mantra from the first day we launched at the end of 2012 to today in 2024 as we wrap our the first half of the year away and start this third quarter. We think that more than ever before, clients, support team members, advisors, coworkers, the like, they want to be treated with a different feel. And look, we just came out of a pandemic. Those that don't feel comfortable going into an office, no problem. We've got those tools available to make it easier on them. Those that want to come in office because they've missed seeing people like you and I, Peter, we can go in and see those folks. We can go into an office and brick and mortar and have those really incredible conversations, collaborate with our team members and so on. So we've really tried to match it all and not bring one flavor to everyone, but be Baskin-Robbins. Give them those 32 flavors. Create the opportunity for them to be successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You mentioned you've always been focused on technology, and I totally know that. You mentioned the pandemic. I mean, just kind of walk through that a little bit. I mean, I know just in our brief conversations, you were probably more prepared than anyone for something like that to happen because of your focus on being tech forward. Or you just want to talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. I remember that call in 2020. I just gotten back from spring training, Dodgers in Arizona. And I remember walking through LAX and starting to see these hand sanitizer Perel bottles all over the LAX as we're walking through, and this thing that no one really kind of understood was going on, and what did that mean? And then very shortly thereafter, the governor in the country leg a mandate that we all had to go home and stay there for 6 weeks while they figured it out, right? And I remember that we were down for all of 20 minutes. So we were able to get all of our support team members, advisors, and leadership team back to their homes, open up their machines, and right away our phones were already digital. So no one was calling cell phones or hoping that your cell phone connected or forwarding office lines to cell phones like so many of our competitors were doing, and clients couldn't reach them. We were up and running. And as a firm, because we're paperless, because we have everything digital, we had access to our client files, we had access to our clients' information. And when that March and we saw the markets really pull back, and we were spending all day, every day talking to our clients and explaining, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You're in the right place. We've got you. And that's what people wanted to hear. Your clients wanted to hear that. Your support team member wanted to hear that. The people that are your coworkers, your advisors, they all wanted to hear that. They didn't want to hear, I don't know what's going to happen, because that's scary. Now, did we know? No. Did we know we were going to be locked up for 2 years? We had no idea. But we did know that we were going to be able to support our clients, support our advisors, our team members, our leadership team, the coworkers, the people around us, because we had the technology. We invested so much money in our tech, and we were able to deliver phone systems that worked without missing a beat, CRM and client management systems without missing a beat, files that were fully digitized and ready so we can grab and email to the clients so the clients knew what was happening without missing a beat. The client's private data that they had asked for us to hold in their vaults when they couldn't get access to their legal documents and tax forms, and we were able to provide that without missing a beat. So that's one of the most proud things that I've had in our career and in the construction of this firm. One of the biggest prides that I feel, I'm saying that incorrectly, but that we came together and we were able to deliver because of the commitment we had to that technological advancement, that support of our industry and for our firm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was well planned, even though you weren't planning it. You were just thinking forward and looking out into the future. And yeah, it's your saying, which I know you took from someone, you never want to be the last horse and buggy when the automobile is invented. So you're always thinking ahead, right? So
it's like what they say, that at the end of the day, the John Wooden statement, right? I mean, failing to plan is planning to fail. And so while we didn't know what to plan for, we knew we were not going to fail. And that was important to us as a firm.
So with everything you got going on, lots of clients, running meetings, traveling, getting a little golf every now and then, what led you to a podcast? Why are we doing a podcast?
That's a great question. And I think I was talking to one of my very dear clients and friends about his radio show and some of the things that he had experienced and was enjoying. And, what it came down to for me, Pete, is I wanted to get our messaging out. I think that I have a unique personality, both good and bad. And I figured, why not put some of that unique personality on display, cover some topics in a way that could be unique and interesting to people, and look, help get the messaging out, help motivate people that want to either get into this phenomenal career that you and I found at such young ages, or clients that are struggling to find a financial professional that really suits their needs, meets their objections, really fits in for them. Because as I've said many times, not all advisors are one and the same. They may find my personality displeasing, and we have people around the firm that are not my personality, that are different, that are perhaps quieter or less energetic or whatever it might be. But what we do have is we've got someone for everybody. And so the idea behind the podcast for me was, let's get our messaging out there. Let's create a market that perhaps didn't exist before. And let's really talk about the uniqueness of both who we are and strip away some of the misunderstanding around what financial planning and an investment management firm looks like. Let's talk about it. We're real people talking about real issues, and let's get down to it and provide the best path to success.
Yeah, awesome. And I know this is something we've been talking about for a while. We've took some time planning and thinking through this and what we want to incorporate and who we'd like to have on as guests. And I know one thing that was super important is that you want to share your personality. You still want to be the Hebrew Hammer. You want to be Jeremy, right? And you want to incorporate wine into the podcast, which I'm all in favor of course. Glad to share in a good glass of wine with you. But it's become such a big part of your business. I mean, just can you talk about that a little bit and share some thoughts as, how you plan to integrate some of this wine discussion into the wealth planning? I know there's other areas we want to focus on and talking about health and wealth, but let's just talk a little bit about the wine right now.
You got it. Well, ironically, we'll talk about the wine and the fitness. So I think it's really important. I'm passionate about sports, I'm passionate about fitness, and I'm passionate about food and wine. So we want to bring together all those different categories into these podcasts and really try to attract people that share in any one of those three modalities. And we're going to have winemakers, some of the most well-known winemakers in the industry. We're going to have those folks interviewed on the podcast, and we're excited to share some of those clients and some of those experiences. We're going to have some fitness people that are well-known that we're excited to have, some that are already booked, more to come on that as soon as we confirm all those things. But we're very excited to share with our audience some of the unique people that we had the opportunity to live and work with, and share some of our passions and hear more from those that share some of the same.
Right. Great. And I know you're going to be incorporating these podcasts while you're out on the road. So when you're traveling, we're going to keep these up and maybe share some actual experiences that are happening while you're in the moment.
Where's Waldo, baby? Where's Waldo? Yeah. Where's the hammer?
It'll be fun to keep track. Maybe your co-host needs to go with you.
I agree, 100%.
So anything, as you think about what we can expect further from the podcast, or what's looking forward in the firm, as we think about what other exciting things that we have going on for the balance of the year?
Yeah, for sure. So what I would say is this: is the expectation of the podcast is we want to be entertaining, we want to be interesting, we want to be informative, and our focus is going to really be there. Interesting, entertaining, and informative. We're going to provide details on the markets. We're going to talk through that. We'll have our CIO on the one of the podcasts here in the very near future. We're going to talk about fitness. We're going to get these things up, and we're going to try to reach a broader audience and really try to share our experiences with the community. We're going to talk about mental health, as that has become a really tremendous focus and concern for so many people that deal with mental health issues. We're going to talk about fitness coming out of the pandemic. Have you taken care of yourself? And certainly I haven't done as good a job as I need to, getting a physical here in a couple of weeks that I haven't done and have been putting off. And I think it's important that we all take care of ourselves. And then we're going to talk about, wine and the enjoyment that you should have just in life in general. It's not just about wine, but, we've all known people or lost people in our lives here recently. And, tomorrow is not promised to anyone. So let's talk about what that means and the enjoyment thereabouts. And let's also talk about some of the nuances. How do you make wine? How'd you get there? And, that's very similar to working out. When you get yourself into shape, how'd you get there? You didn't just all of a sudden walk in and have a six pack. What'd you do? So I think the podcast is really going to take on a life of its own. At least I hope it does. And we're going to really cover all those topics and really get into it in a way that I think is going to be interesting, informative, and entertaining.
Great. Yeah. I like I said, I'm pretty excited to have conversations with these people. I know we've reached out. We're going to have a great lineup. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's going to be great, man. I'm excited.
Yep. Any other final thoughts, JD? Is there anything else you want to share? I know it's in episode 1 here, so we're just excited to kick things off, share a little bit about the future, get a better understanding of who you are. But is there anything else that you would like to add before we wrap this thing up?
No, I think I'm excited about what this future holds. Excited to start delivering these weekly to our audience and our followers, and I look forward to sharing many, many more.
Great. We're looking forward to it. These episodes will be coming out soon. We've got a great lineup, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you for listening to One Path to Wealth podcast. Click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. Visit our website at www.onewealthmgmt.com or give us a call at 855-663-9584. And don't forget to click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of One Wealth Management. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning. Investment advisory services offered through One Wealth Capital Management, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance solutions offered through One Wealth Management, Financial and Insurance Services, Inc.